So if I have this kind of inner classes, first I would create the class called account. So it is a public class account. Always the name of the class is the same as the name of the file, and it is the single class with public in front. So here if I would want to have the public class and I write bank, it will say that to make bank not public, because you cannot have two public classes in one file. So it means or that you want to place bank inside a new class called bank.java, or to make it not public. So in fact, it would be like this. But here, you want it to be nested. So it means that I place this inside and it will be nested. Now, a bank, an account is characterized by name, owner, birthday, IBAN, and so on with minus in front. This minus means that it is of which type? No, which is the type when you have a minus in front. This minus in front means that I couldn't hear you. You are muted by it, then it got close.
I asked to give me 1 second. I'm doing the problem at the same time and I cannot follow you, so I'm following the video.
Yeah. So here inside this minus, when you have a class and you have an attribute with minus in front, the minus means which accessibility?
Private?
Yeah, exactly. And whether you have a plus, it means that it is?
Public.
Yeah, exactly. So here it would be, you have private, and after private for the owner name, what would you write? The owner name or the string?
String.
Yeah, so you have the string and you have owner name. So it's always, you have accessibility, you have type, and you have the name of your attribute. Okay, so you have attribute name. Then it would be again, you have the private, you have Gregorian calendar, and you have the owner birthday. You have a private string IBAN. You have, it's again with private double amount. Then we have a private double credit. Okay, and the private Gregorian calendar creation date. Okay. Now inside it, of course, let's say here to visualize it better, you will have the constructor. Okay, I can even write it. So it can be a public. After having the constructor, you need to place the name of the class. So it is a public account of what? You need to set the owner name. So you can put it like this, ON. Then I need to have the Gregorian calendar of my owner birthday. Okay. Then it will be the string for my IBAN. Okay, then I have an amount, I have a credit, and I have my Gregorian calendar, my creation date, CD. And now what do you write inside the constructor?
Everything that had this dot whatever front of.
So firstly you have the owner name, which is ON. This dot, you have after that the owner birthday, which is this OBD. Then you have this dot IBAN to be what I receive as an input parameter. So make the difference between the attribute of the class, which is placed here, and the value that you've got as an argument here as a parameter. Okay. So here I have ON. So in fact, my owner name, which is here, will get the value that you provide here as a parameter. Okay, after my IBAN, I have amount, which is A. After amount, I have my credit, which is C. Then the creation date is in fact the CD that I receive as an argument. Then if I want to have a get, how do you write a get? You have public, and then after public, what do you have to add? Void or some return type?
It has to be some return type.
Yeah, so you will have your return type, whether it is string, Gregorian calendar, double, whatever. Okay, and you have the get of the parameter. And here inside it's empty, okay? So if you have the get here, it's empty because you don't want to set anything, so you don't provide any values. So it will be public string, in fact, get owner name. Okay, and you just have the return of the owner name. And now whether it is a set, what do you write? You have a public. Do you need to return anything?
Would we have to extend this?
So here this is for the set. So set is when you want to provide a value for some parameter. And in this case, the return type would be what?
Oh, so it's a setter now.
Yeah, this is the set.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, got it.
So for the set, which would be the return type? Do you need to get something from it?
No, so that would mean it would be a void.
Exactly. So it is a void.
But it will have arguments.
Yeah, exactly. So you will have the set of parameter, and here you have all your input parameters. Okay, so all right, good. So it will be a public void set owner name based on. You need to think like this. My owner name is of which type? My owner name is of type string. So I will have here string on. You can write new owner name such that my owner name, which is characterized here by my current object, will receive the value new owner name. Okay, and you don't need to return anything, you just updated the value. Okay, going back. Okay. Let's see, here we have the bank. The bank is a nested class, so this is called nested class. And for my nested class, you have your name and your capital. So it will be a private string name. And you also have a private double capital. Okay. And it means that, again, you need to provide which is the constructor and all. So you would have the public bank of string n double C for capital is this dot name, which receives n, and this dot capital, which receives C. Okay, and that's pretty much it. You can also add the remainders. So here, for it to be easier, I will use the generate getter setter, and you press on Control, and you can have all of them. Okay, and here inside the bank, you will have getters and setters, whether you do want to display them. Okay, good. So being inside it, you want to have the void main. So which is the structure of the void main? How do you write it? You have a public
void main.
Public static void main, and after that, what is inside?
Args.
Yeah, so you have string and you've got your arguments. Okay, and here you can place it or args like this, or you have string like this one. It is also correct because in fact it is an array of strings. So this args is what you can provide from the keyboard and you receive them as an array. Then what would you set here? You will have your bank, okay, B to B. New bank of what? You will have the name, so it will provide the values for N, which is the name of the bank, and you have the capital, PCR, and some capital, whatever. Okay. Then this one, you see that you have a context which is static. So it means or to make the bank static or to make the main non-static. So it will be to make it here static. Okay, so it's a static class bank, which will be called. And this is a number indeed. Okay, it is placed like this. Then I have my client C. Okay, but for my client, this is the account. Account has what inside it?
A bank.
Yeah, so it will be a bank, whatever my bank might be. And as you can see here, it is the one which is placed inside the counted bank. So it knows that it is the nested class. Okay. So my client C will be equal to new client, I mean, you are inside account, so account A equals new account. And what does it have? Okay, owner. And okay, it's better to say it like this. I have my owner. I have my Gregorian calendar, new Gregorian calendar, and it would be with all the arguments. So you have them one by one. So in this Gregorian calendar, you see that you provide value by value. Okay. Year, month. Okay. Then what will it have? The IBAN, row, whatever. Okay, after the IBAN, I have my amount. After the amount, some credit. Okay, and the creation date. It's again new Gregorian calendar. So, 2020. Oh, sorry. It is the year. I didn't see it. Okay, month and day. Okay, 2020. You have the month and day. Okay, semicolon. And you associate that A dot my bank to be equal to B. So if I have a cout of my A dot to string, it will be in this way because it wasn't defined. So it will show the address of my object. Then I would have to generate the toString according to it. I have my bank that I can have the toString for it. And let's add the bank here with the toString. Okay, and they are generated. Such that now, so always forget that if you don't provide it, it just shows which is the address in memory. So, and then you have proof of all this, okay. End of month, day of month, first day of week. Okay, and you have the rest of the parameters, but these are very long. So let's just comment these ones because they are too long. Okay, so you have the name, you have the IBAN, I have the amount, credit, and the bank, which is like a sort of JSON, in fact, because you see that for a certain label you have the value, so it will be the bank and its capital. And if I don't put this toString, okay, this one calls it in this way because it has the toString method associated. But if I also delete this one, then you have the address. So as you can see, when having the address, it also shows the nested class as being the bank placed inside the account at a certain address. So going backwards, having the toString inside bank. So when having the toString inside bank, you can even leave it like this because it will have to search whether the toString exists inside my class, which is bank. And it will find it and it will provide it. If it doesn't exist, then you have the address. And that's what you have to do here, as well as to implement the comparable and storable. So you have this implements of comparable and the name. So what do you compare? Also an object of type account, and I have my storable. So you need to implement them. Okay. And store and read, they're exactly like before. Okay, so this will be your to-do. Okay, to-do, as well as the compare to. This is your to-do. Knowing that store and read are exactly like in your game product. So in fact, you just have to copy paste. All right. So this is your store. This is your read because it is exactly the same no matter the case. Okay. And then you have the compare to, which is very similar to this one, whether it's before, after, or whether it is equal. So here you have this one, which you need to modify. So before, after they remain, this one remains. Now these are the attributes. So think of the attributes based on which you want to compare. Based on which you do comparison. Okay, so this is for a string. Let's see, get you are inside it. You don't have any super anymore. You have this dot get IBAN. You can compare based on the IBAN. Okay, and you don't have it as another subclass. You have it as it is. Okay, now if my IBAN is equal, I have it according to get amount. Get amount, for example, we get amount, and there is no length for it because it's not a string. And here is the same, but I changed the sign. And now there is no point to have this return of 0 because already you have a return before. Okay, so this is what it means. Before is -1, we have equal for 0, and after you have a 1. And this is what you basically need to do for the third problem, where you have bank as a nested class of account, and you want to implement comparable, as well as you have the storable, which is in fact an interface. So you define it with public interface storable, and all the public abstract methods that there are inside. All the methods inside an interface, they are with public abstract, but you can simply neglect it because the program knows that by default you have them public abstract because you need to have them implemented. And then you think that you have a certain return type, which in this case is void. You have the method name and the file where you want to store. So whether you want to store, you can receive a file not found exception. And whether you want to read, in fact, the exception which is thrown is the IO exception, where both of them exist inside this library, which is called java.io. And this is what you have to do here. I will stop the recording.